Hi Taurus, welcome to my channel. Taurus, as I mentioned in the Solar Eclipse Initiation video and podcast, on 10th of June at 6:52 a.m. Eastern Time, Sun and Moon will come together as a solar eclipse at 19°47' of Gemini along with North Node to plant a new karmic seed. We would have 6 planets physically parallel and anti-parallel in the sky, with the karmic nodes like the whole universe is conspiring to bring something to pass. In this moment of eclipse, after a period of reconsideration and confusion, we are meant to see things clearly. It may not yet be time to start anew or announce, or external messaging might still be delayed till 22nd of June, but the initiation of the new thinking, new mind begins. A new commercial thought form is born. And from that we create a forward growth of self-worth and net worth. North Node is where we stumble, we get up, and yet we start again, cause it's our path or forward growth of this lifetime. It's our karma of this lifetime. We must grow through it and grow towards it. Every 19 years, we evolve a certain part of our life through leaps and bounds. This is the last 6 months of this karmic growth in the area of your life that has to do with assets, possessions, money ideas, self-worth and net worth, where we would be planting a new seed of growth. This mingles with the lunar eclipse we just had, which had the theme of release of the old give and take in partnerships for you, Taurus. And it might feel like the rebirth is happening, driven by a crisis, an imbalance in give and take. Like an old way of thinking of money and possibly unfair exchange of assets is giving way to a new idea and a life of balance. Today we will not so much focus on this one event alone, but more on what these next 6 months are supposed to teach us, and what kind of evolution our mind is undergoing, where one kind of thought form is being released and a new one which would serve us for the next 19 years is born. We never stop growing, but Gemini eclipses take our mind and knowledge, and in your case mind and knowledge about financial skill set, for a leap in matter of days and months, which would normally take many years to come to pass. If you're old enough, this kind of growth you would have experienced back in 2002. Your access of property, assets, sex, exchange, money, valuable skills, and self-worth is being activated and completely shifted. Over 6 months, one adventure ends and another one begins. As promised in the part 1 of this video or podcast, which is the overview of the solar eclipse, in this part 2, we will go deeper into every aspect of this new start, as it's relevant for the rest of the year for you. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. So let's begin. Let's start from the start and we cover the solar eclipse to start with. Taurus, the 10th of June eclipse activates a new start in your self-worth and net worth, which comes in form of a new source of income, thinking, writing, speaking, connecting with people on diverse, clever ways of making money and resources. Research on financial assets, collecting some valuable resources, investing in assets, learning skills that increase your market value, learning practical money-making skills linked to money like investing, or taking a course that enhances the value of your skill set and your own market value. This is an upgrade in worth, using your mind, using your ideas and your social skills. New opportunity, new desire, a new avenue for gains is opened. And it's something that you might have been working on. It's a seed that was possibly initiated around 2nd or 3rd of January at the start of the year, which was thought of at the start of the year. And then around early April, around 7th of April, you might have initiated some amount of work on it. But now with some modifications, some back and forth or reconsiderations, you might be planning to go ahead with it. Though the final go is best done post the Mercury retrograde gets over, which is post 22nd of June. These are the ideas that you can take to the bank. Since our body is an asset as well, you might be making a move to invest in your well-being as well, in your diet as well. This is an eclipse to seed something that makes you feel good about yourself, where you invest in you in some ways, invest in your self-growth. Go towards what helps your self-esteem. You are more in touch with your senses, more attuned to your needs than before. What ticks, what stimulates you is becoming evident, and you want to direct all your resources in that direction versus scattering your efforts. Knowing what brings you value, comfort, security, sense of worth is a key information which this eclipse brings clarity on. In some ways, a step towards financial independence is taken. Overall, a step towards independence is taken here. As we evaluate if we can survive without the support of others by ourselves. In some ways, an unfair exchange is stopped. It could be an exchange with a partner or with a business identity or with a professional partner. Like the exchange of our money, exchange of our time for somebody else's money. That unfair exchange is stopped. This is happening while Mercury is retrograde right now. Let's delve deeper into that. The process of streamlining your resources would be in process till 22nd of June. So the final touches on this seed, this new monetary start, is going to only happen after 22nd of June. You might be reviewing the level of risk you're taking in case you're placing all your eggs in one basket. You might well be placed to review your resources, your diet, your expenses in this time. You could be reallocating budgets, re-evaluating value of things you own or you invest or spend on. You might be replenishing your personal and physical resources, taking steps to enhance the value of your skill set and the value of your assets during this Mercury retrograde period till 22nd of June. The question of self-worth would come up, and it would come up in discussions or even in arguments sometimes. You would re-evaluate if you are paid your worth. Are you comfortable in your resources? Are you fulfilled with what you have? Do you value yourself? And if you do, are you commanding that value back from others whom you render your life, your time, your life force and efforts on? Are you working within your value system? And is your old value system serving you well or not? It's not a time till 22nd of June to make a huge investment, as there might still be some reviews which are needed, especially when it's linked to large expense, like investing in a vehicle, buying a new car or a new device, or a financial market investment, or a commercial self-made wealth-related business expense or investment. It's a good time to take stock if you're paid correctly for what you're worth or not. Possibly relisting your pricing, renegotiating. All the re's are done when the Mercury is retrograde till 22nd of June. So renegotiation of a salary, renegotiation of the rewards, renegotiation of the respect you receive from others in your work. Old investments which are made, old expenses even, they might come back to be reviewed right now. Some past investment or skills which have helped you financially or even made you feel more you, enriched your sense of worth, might be coming back up as well. You would also evaluate what you are giving up or being asked to give up, if anything, in the name of self-worth, self-respect, or any compromise in values you are made to do purely for commercial success. Your value system, and if there's any compromise in that value system that you're made to do, that will come up as well for review. Sometimes our risk appetite here comes to focus. Our rewards are collaborative to the risks we take in life, and Mercury rules your house of both rewards and risk taking. So if you have been too conservative in terms of taking risk in your life, you might be prompted to take more risk on your skills. Your urge to take financial risk is going to increase. But do remember what I mentioned in the part 1, which is the overview of this video. Most of the mistakes are made in a hurry during the period of Mercury retrograde. Most of those mistakes are made between 10th of June to 22nd of June as we try to rush in and implement something, but it's not yet time. This whole review that Mercury retrograde is doing in your self-worth and net worth also occurred in May or June of 2015. Now, everything is not going to be the same, but Mercury retrograde cycles carry forward the lessons. So if you have emails, any photographs, anything to remember by from May or June of 2015, the actual lessons, the actual people and issues and resolutions sometimes from middle of 2015 might come up and might come very useful for you to resolve the current situation. It could even be a leap you made or a decision you made about what skills would earn you monetary resources, or maybe you just changed a diet or made a big shift in your values or self-worth. It is very much worth your time to go back to your emails. A quick before and after command in the search field of Gmail app would do it. Between May and June of 2015 for anything significant. We always learn something by looking at the past during this time. We don't have to relive it, but the lessons to carry forward. Now, there was no eclipse at that time though. There was no eclipse at that time in your financial houses. So the shift that you're going to take right now and the steps that will be taken right now, they have a much bigger impact on your life. For that kind of impact, though again, everything is not the same, but the last time the eclipses that are happening right now, they happened in the summer of 2002, Northern Hemisphere summer, so May of 2002. So you could look back if you're old enough to May of 2002, what kind of leap you took, what kind of shift you made in your self-worth, in your net worth, in the value that you produce from your skills, the value of your physical assets, how did you enhance that? You could look back to May of 2002. The eclipses which happened in December of 2011 were of opposite polarity. But just for themes that came up, life-changing themes with respect to money, with respect to assets, with respect to balance of give and take in your relationships that came up around December of 2011 can also give you further clues of what is shifting or what needs to be shifted for you. But the most important lessons in my view, the active lessons, are always carried forward from the last Mercury retrograde cycle, which is May or June of 2015. If nothing else, try to relook at that period because it will be very relevant to the decision you're about to make right now. Let's look at the lunar eclipse that just happened, because the solar eclipse comes with a lunar eclipse, a closure, a release, and that was activated with the lunar eclipse we just had on 26th of May, which will impact you till 19th of November. That eclipse is a closure, a release, a stimulus to let something go so you can have a better start forward. That eclipse is prompting us to move away. So solar eclipse with North Node, which is happening on 10th, is giving something. Lunar eclipse that just happened on 26th of May, which will also be active in parallel with it for the next 6 months, is about a karmic tie being broken. It's prompting us to move away from something, move away from a dysfunction, move away from a joint financial situation which is probably not healthy, being stuck in a karmic hold or karmic debt of somebody because of financial reason, because of emotional reason, because of sexual reasons, because of karmic bond with somebody. There's something, a cord which is cut, and it could almost feel like a crisis. It could be with a business partner, it could be with a personal partner. You want to move away from joint financial situation, being sponsored by anyone, gain independence financially from a debt or a partner or a business sponsor. This is a karmic tie being broken, a karmic hold, a debt someone or something has on you, and through possibly a crisis of power where there was a power struggle or an epiphany or information that came to light which you did not see before, you might decide to cut the cord here. You're moving away possibly also from taking care of resources and talents of somebody else, because the focus is on your worth, yourself, your asset, your money, and your well-being. The lunar eclipse is prompting a detox, a weeding out, which would actively continue to the end of the year through a key karmic or fated event which is yet to pan out, which is yet to happen, and it will happen in the first week of September, which would be a key milestone with more information on this cord cutting coming to light. More information will come to surface. This could seem like a crisis right now, as it could be through a separation or even a health crisis, or even unfortunately a loss of job or support, or a power play with a father figure, with a mentor or a sponsor or a financial partner or a personal partner, which essentially initiates the cycle of independence, which wakes you up from an imbalance of give and take you were in. It could be a dysfunction which you were previously accepting, trying to take a high road, but now you need to detach yourself and move forward. A karma is getting over. Through the impetus of the seeming crisis of the moment, which you might have already been enlightened about, you move forward, and you move forward in a much more positive direction. You move forward lighter, healthier, and with more enthusiasm for the future. This on mundane basis can bring out tax matters, financial loans, insurance, inheritance matters, large expenses, sometimes the separation from partner, addictions, joint resources, how we share responsibilities in a partnership, life or death situations, or topic of mortality. Sometimes a past trauma also comes to focus. A depth we need to deal with. A topic of death, deep hurt sometimes that we need to deal with in order to heal and move forward from comes to surface. Topic of intimacy in personal relationships comes up for discussion, for renewal, for possible release and shift. Health conditions which are driven by some negative bias or a negative thought process or a negative addiction to a person or a substance comes up. This is where we are healing out of something. This is a cycle of health and healing which is coming from you weeding something out of your life. Psychological epiphanies, realizations, they're common. And we might have experienced some telling us who or what we need to move away from. You might have already got some realization and epiphanies which have given you hints to what to move away from. We would learn the purpose of it all further in September to gain something much bigger. We need to release something in the moment. To stand firm on our 2 feet, on our terms, some form of support or crutch would have to be released here. So you can move forward in a much healthier and lighter direction. Now I'm going to cover some do's and don'ts of the next 6 months, because these are the last 6 months of Gemini and Sagittarius nodes. As the 2 eclipses intermingle and color our next 6 months, we would also be living the last 6 months of karmic growth, North Node in Gemini and release South Node in Sagittarius. In a way, road to success. These are the do's and don'ts of the road to success for the next 6 months. Keeping in mind that we will stumble many times, because this is something we have not done before. But in that process, the untried would be tried. So let's dig into do's and don'ts. The first thing is depending on others for financial matters or sustenance or even food or diet would disappoint you in some ways. Move away from receiving any resources or support from partners. This is the time when your best success will come from independently making money through independent talents being developed. There could even be some form of loss in mutual resources or money given up in separation from another person, or a debt repayment, or a financial support loss because you are being prompted to stand on your own. Don't rely on others to define your worth. Don't rely on resources of others. Don't let others dictate your finances and assets. Overall, reduce the role of others in your life and their control over your mind, life, and mood. Release the power of others over you due to debt, due to love, due to sexual relationships, due to financial favors, due to addiction, due to karma with a person. These are power that others have over us. Things that give us to others in a manipulative fashion. The relationships that come with manipulation would be released. Definition of safety, which comes from others taking control of your time, resources, will be changed. You cannot give up your time, resources, and let somebody else take charge of important decisions of your life. If you have in the past, you'll have to get rid of that dynamics of relationships. You don't want that kind of stability. You don't want that kind of safety which comes with somebody else controlling your time, resources, and important decisions of your life. We don't want to be part of someone else's reality. The old mindset that we don't know what is best for us, if that has been the mindset, or how to make choices of our life. I mean, somebody else needs to tell us how to make choices of our life. If somebody else has made you believe that they know it better, this is good for you, this is what you should be doing. These are veiled controls from others, and we'll have to move apart from that. Intimacy and togetherness with your partner would have to be balanced with a focus on what you individually bring to the table and what you individually want to do. If we have lost ourselves in a joint partnership or a relationship, we would come up for air to assert our individuality and skills, and that's the road to success. While being independent, we might be required to help others on resources without expectation, but that is more of selfless. There's no give and take there. There's only one-sided give in some ways. You can help those in crisis. You can help heal others or help support others who are in crisis in some ways, and that will heal you, renew you spiritually, but do not expect somebody else to help you. We release any hold we have on others and their financial assets. For example, releasing, if you have been managing somebody else's money, we release that responsibility. We release any opinions we have on others, what they should do. No advisory, financial or personal, of any kind. Fears below the surface, especially fear of sudden loss, they need to be released as well. All the negative biases are coming to surface to release, and these are fears, because we cannot come into abundance with fear and scarcity consciousness. Obligatory mindset is also being released. Do this and you would get that. Always a give and take. That give and take equation is being removed. Conditioning of delayed gratification, that you will be rewarded if you undermine yourself or stay humble, as they say. That is released. No being humble. We are coming into ourselves. The belief that you have in yourself is coming to forth. The belief that you haven't earned the right to want something is being released. We give up a kind of darkness or a negative outlook that might have hung over us because of being either in a partnership, in a constraint, in a relationship, or in a bondage from a person who was financially sponsoring us. As we become more aware of our value, we become curious, we become more focused on our own priorities. It's like a shadow which is being removed, and not bothered in that process of what other people do or their motivations here. We don't care about their motivations. We don't care about what other people do. We would need to balance out. We would need to balance out this past with the future as we transition over the course of next 6 months. We would need to balance out also our love for things, because the value system is evolving for you as well. Freedom is an asset in itself, not just money. Money is an asset, yes, but freedom is a much bigger asset. So what you place value on, which asset do you place value on, that is changing. And freedom is an asset that you crave right now more. Golden handcuffs take that very important asset away, and you would emphasize the need for freedom more than the need for physical assets. It's time to focus on developing confidence in your skills and cultivate your own independent talents, which make you more valuable as a person. We start learning further how to create value from words, from creations that are done by our handy skills, which made self-made wealth, from ideas, from mental agility, from writing, from speaking, from using our wits. We hone our skill of objective observation of trends and facts and putting them in words, or observing the trends objectively and then investing in those trends. We allow ourselves to enjoy some of the material pleasures also, as it's part of valuing ourselves. And as a Taurus, you're meant to value yourself with material pleasures as well. Our house of innate talents, which might have been dormant for a very long period of time. This is a once in 19 years transit. That might be coming to surface. These innate talents, they were dormant under the influence of the others, the shadow of the others. Sometimes our own fears and complexes have not given these ideas the light of the day. And now that very shadow is lifted, and the innate talents are given breather to bloom. You would demonstrate your excellent taste and ability to manifest materially quality work during this part of the year. You are looking at the next 6 months when we are transitioning out of the old talents which yielded revenue to you. It's like a shift of how you make money, how you value yourself, and which talents do you use to create value. We get something because we want it, not because somebody else expects that out of us, not because somebody else wants us to get it. This is your independent journey. We want to enjoy the pleasures of life, stimulate our senses, be hugged, be held, be cared, be loved without bondage, without manipulation, and without dependence. These themes are very much consistent with the Saturn-Uranus square themes, which is also playing out for the next 6 months. And that transit of Saturn and Uranus in your sign coming in contact second time on 14th of June will also wake you up. It will prompt you to seek your freedom versus Saturn recreating the whole structure of your career. Saturn is recreating the whole structure of your career. And somebody might be pressurizing you, putting you under the thumb, and you just want to set free. There's a balance to be struck, but we have a rare once-in-lifetime transit of Uranus, the planet of freedom, in your sign. You are going to seek freedom at this time at any cost. I covered that transit in detail as well, because this is a Uranus in your sign comes once in 84 years. You're looking at a transit that most of the signs never experience in their lifetime. Uranus in Taurus is a rare transit. Most of the people around you might have had Uranus in their sign. Maybe Aries around you would have done that. This is a very rare transit which is working right in parallel with the nodes coming in your money houses. So I covered that in your 2021 video. I'm not going to go into the detail of that, except of the fact that you will be seeking freedom out of anything that is putting you, trying to hem you down into a structure in your career especially. Anything that is trying to be the authority of your life, you're going to revolt against that. I'll address the last thing, which is a pink elephant in the room, which is Neptune. Neptune is foggy, and we're going to have Neptune retrograde at the end of the month. And Neptune is making an aspect with both of this solar eclipse, and we find that our boundaries are encroached upon when Neptune becomes very strong. And at a time when we are trying to create clear boundaries, somebody in our network, somebody in our friends group, somebody who is in our social group might be trying to cross that boundary. And this is a person or possibly a socialite, or a elder sibling, or a close friend who we possibly have idealized for some time. And while you're trying to create clear boundaries of self-worth and net worth, you're finding your boundaries getting encroached, and possibly you find yourself getting used by them in some ways. They could be flighty, they could be not so kosher in their intention in some ways with you. And that is a clear conflict you face. The other way this pans out is that while we try to create these clear boundaries and find a more fair balance of give and take in our partnerships, it could clash with our ideal social goals and aspirations. Who you want to be as a friend, who you want to be as a sibling, who you want to be, the ideal vision of who you want to be as a gainful person, as a social influencer, the money part of it, the going to the brass tacks of talking about how do I make money out of these idealistic goals, there's a clash there with your social goals, aspirations, which are idealistic in nature, with this focus on creating value for yourself, creating the talents that are true to yourself, and balancing this out, creating the right boundaries for yourself. Our urge to merge and be part of a wider group, the ideal vision we have of life, of enjoying life with our soul friends, it's going to conflict with the down to earth, down to the brass tacks reality of money making. Money matters could come up with friends with whom we don't have boundaries, or even with sibling. The productive outcome would be that we find practical ways of monetizing our idealistic social goals, of having a wider impact, of having a wider social following, having more presence and benefits for a larger set of society. We find a way to monetize that. That is a healthy balance. That is a healthy outcome of this conflict. As well as the healthy outcome could be finding the right boundaries, where our love for others does not involve us compromising money, compromising our worth, our self-respect, or being cheated out of your assets and finances. So the right healthy boundaries. We bring our sense of whimsy, spirituality, creativity, a better vision of what the world could be, a social humanitarian cause, which is all being incited by Neptune in a house of vision. We bring all of that whimsy, spirituality, creativity that is budding inside of us, and the humanitarian causes and the social aspect, social aspiration aspect, into our pursuit for value, for finances and assets. We have to merge the two. It's possible that you might be even working on investments, and those investments are more intuitive in nature, or those investments are into social causes or humanitarian causes, or they are possibly involving investment into an idealistic goal, and we have to find realistic way to create value out of our idealistic goals. You want to bring your brand of beauty, justice, truth to the world at large. You have a larger than life creative vision to heal, to care, to love, to uplift. This has created and attracted you to arts, to spirituality, to people who are different, and from these fields, which are possibly becoming your network. It's a dream. It's an ideal that you want to live. Your vision is the purest form of selfless love. But what about financial independence? What about ego? What about self-worth? What about stability? These two things might be clashing with each other. And the thing is that people might have encroached upon your boundaries because you have been open a lot with people. When Neptune is in a house at networks, our boundaries with friends are low. Our boundaries with our network with others are low. So it's possible that people have taken advantage of you in some ways, or they have encroached upon your boundaries. So the walls are a little bit already up. And some of the not so kosher associates are further about to reveal themselves to you towards the end of June, when Neptune will go direct. Some amount of disillusionment will happen over idealizing somebody you held in high regard. It could be a friend, it could be a lover, it could be a elder sibling, it could be somebody who you thought spiritually connected with, but something comes to surface which shows you that you were being used by them. Neptune will, through this retrograde period over the next few months, is going to remove some of those associations, some of those friends, some of those network connections which are not real. It would also take away some of the dreams and visions which are not real, because we have to reform it into something that can be brought to reality. You are a earth sign. You're here to create something material. Similarly, we might need to release some of our rigid ego, and you may not have any, but sometimes when our walls are up, because we have been used so much, the ego goes a little bit higher. So we might be asked to compromise a little bit on our old value system. It's possible that, this is how I think money is made. This is how I think I should be making money. This is my ego because I have been hurt in the past. We'll be asked to release a little bit of that rigidity in some ways as the other side of the compromise. Because in order to do something bigger, you'll have to merge fully with a network, with a goal, with a friends. You'll have to still trust, irrespective of the disillusionment which has happened in the past. Highly charged emotions or even past wounds could be inhibiting your ability in some ways to relate to others on a healthy footing. And that blocks your abundance in some ways. We'll have to release some of those past things as they are not letting you be yourself, who you need to be, your open self in some ways to move forward in your goals. It's a fight we avoid, but in the mutable season, we will have to find the balance of these two parts of us. The one part of us that wants to merge with the collective, and the other parts of us that wants to take care of ourselves and our assets and our financial abundance and our stability and our ego and our self-worth. While the larger vision and soul friends, soul networks might have eluded us so far, with this process of weeding out the people who are not for you, you will discover your soul tribe. And Jupiter is now in your house of vision and friends. We only receive things which are out of this world after a process of falling down and getting up again. With Jupiter now in your house of vision and friends and gains, it can open the doors of a solution to this conundrum. We could see a sign of it as the Sun makes the first trine with the retrograde Jupiter on 23rd of June. The fuller manifestation of this evolved view of your vision, evolved view of your friends, the soul tribe that you're looking for, that helps you in your financial abundance, will only come in 2022 fully. But you will see a hint of it. What is the evolved version of your vision? What is the evolved version of the network? What is the evolved version of the social aspiration that will get you a balance between these two conflicting parts of you? Some hints, some success, some amount of benefit, some amount of breakthrough is shown to you on 23rd of June, but it will not fully manifest itself till 2022. I covered this in brief in the 2022 preview video as well, but it could this month really give some answers to this conflict we face. I'll leave the link of that video as well in the comments. This is what I have for you, Taurus. Good luck for the next 6 months and for the upcoming eclipse. I hope you find the right balance of the two parts of you at conflict moving forward, and it opens a new door of abundance, a new door of the right value system that is more suitable to who you are becoming, and it gives you the kind of freedom you are looking for. Good luck for that, and I'll see you in the next video now. Thank you.